Booyah, not a shit show anymore because I'm quick on my feet. Let's get right into it. Orlando Magic interested in Isaiah Hartenstein. You're thinking, why would they be interested in Isaiah Hartenstein? Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I don't like how closely my microphone or like this screen is looking at me, but either way, we'll fix that in a second. Isaiah Hartenstein is the perfect for. We're hearing that the Oklahoma City Thunder want to give him about $45 million, $50 million. He's looking to get $20 to $25 million this coming season. Crazy to think that when this guy was in high school, at one point he was projected to be a top 5 pick. Then he went overseas. This past season, 25 minutes a night, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a steal a night, a block a game while shooting 65% from the field. And, the very, very, very once in a blue moon three. The German himself from Eugene, Oregon, is a big man that I like, sets solid screens. Basically, if you aren't that 3-and-D or a unicorn or the Alperen Şengün, Domantas Sabonis, Nikola Jokic mold, you are the Isaiah Hartenstein mold, which is the tough defensive, solid brick wall setting, big man who rim runs, does all the dirty work, strong rebounder, can do a little bit passing, might not be the fastest guy on the floor, but is a very, very, very suitable big man when it comes to helping your team win games. So Orlando is a team that this past season, first off, we're assuming that I'm under the assumption that the New York Knicks are not going to re-sign him because he was going to be too expensive for them, and it is going to be economically better for them to draft a guy with one of their 2 picks if they keep both of them, or if they just keep one of them, to go get an Yves Messier, Khalil Ware, one of the bigs that will be available in the back end of the draft, or even go out and get a free agent on a minimum contract. My favorite mention, always Mason Plumlee, Daniel Tice, or Andre Drummond, guys to mention that will be cheaper than keeping Mr. Isaiah Hartenstein on this roster. However, Isaiah Hartenstein is a player that Orlando is a fan of, and the reason for Orlando being a fan of Isaiah Hartenstein, to me, it makes sense. You're getting yourself a guy who is big and who can do a little bit of everything. But what did Orlando do last year? Well, last year Orlando played a guy by the name of Goga Bitadze, who's going to walk in free agency, and Orlando needs to spend a little bit of money, and they can get this guy Isaiah Hartenstein on a 1 to 2 year deal just to spend the salary cap floor. But a guy like Goga, for the Wendell Carter missed some games, and I think they want to move on from Wendell, and they'll get a lot of value from him this offseason because of how his contract's set up. So for me, when you look at a guy like Mr. Goga, who played 15 minutes a night and put up decent stats of just about, I think, what was it, like 5 rebounds a night, 4.5 with 5 points, solid on 60%. Isaiah Hartenstein can come in and fill those minutes well. Plus, it would allow them to move on from Mo Wagner if they wanted to as well, even though I think Mo's been great. Now, this report about Mr. Isaiah Hartenstein's potentially becoming not available, but being of interest, is coming from my co-worker, Mr. Michael Scotto at Hoops Hype, in his latest mock draft, that yes, Isaiah Hartenstein is a guy that the Orlando Magic could have interest in. Now, when we look at the Orlando Magic salary cap wise, what are they looking at? And we know that they are a team that is going to go after Klay Thompson, Paul George. I think they should kind of look at their salary cap situation. I think either you go big or you go ahead and you try to get a guy like Buddy Hield and then spend a little bit of money on Isaiah Hartenstein, and you don't overspend and give any long-term deals. You just do short-term deals, overpay for 1-year deals so you don't compromise yourself financially, is what I personally would do, because I don't like compromising myself financially and we still have to pay Mr. Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner down the road. And Orlando had the least amount of salary. Now, Orlando going into next year has $85 million. I think they have to spend about $60 million. We assume their pick, which is about like $10 million. So about $50 million has to be spent to get to the salary cap floor. To hit the luxury tax, I think they would have to spend $70 million. They're not going to get there. So by wasting some of that money on Isaiah, not wasting, but spending some of that money on Isaiah Hartenstein on a 2-year deal would mean that by the time Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner, and everybody else deals kick in, Isaiah Hartenstein would be off the books. So it's really not a deal that would hurt them entirely. So I think that is one that if you're looking at, okay, what could be something that could incentivize them to do a deal of that magnitude, it would be for Isaiah Hartenstein. And if they miss out on Paul George and Klay Thompson, and they're like, okay, let's go ahead and get guys like Buddy Hield, Isaiah Hartenstein. Maybe we bring in a point guard like Tyus Jones, and right there we spent 20 million on Isaiah Hartenstein. We spent 10 on Buddy Hield, and we spent 15 on Tyus Jones. Right there, we brought in a point guard, a swing man, and a big for all of the cost of $45 million. And we signed them the 2-year deals, maybe with a third year being a team option, and have the money set up that you have partial guarantees or non-guarantees. So you're able to move off of those contracts rather quickly than worry about, oh, crap, now we have to pay our young guys this way. Okay, we're forced to get to the salary cap floor, which is $141 million. They're currently at 85 guaranteed salaries. So by spending $45 million, you just put yourself at $130 million. Now put in 10 right there for the rookie you'll sign, maybe an undrafted free agent. So you're there you got yourself to the salary cap floor, and you still have $30 million before you even get close to the luxury tax. And I think is really smart, because you still have 2 years before you have to really think about Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner's contracts coming into effect. And if you get a guy like Tyus Jones in this situation, if you were to get Isaiah Hartenstein, you put yourself in the position to move off of Cole Anthony and to allow Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, and in this example, Tyus Jones to be the good guy. So I really think that's a move that they would benefit from, in my opinion. Now, what do you guys think about that? I think, again, this is all circumstantial. I think the biggest thing when you look at how the NBA is going to be structured, especially this offseason, and I don't know why my ear is itching me like crazy, but the way that the NBA is going to be structured this offseason is how are teams going to set themselves up long term financially with contracts, so they don't put themselves into juxtapositions that they have to decide who they want to pay and why they, or make those tough decisions, which are deciding who to pay. Now, I didn't mean to sit here and talk about the Orlando Magic for like 5 minutes, but it sent us down a rabbit hole that I think was definitely worth getting into, because it really came back down to understanding salary and why teams sometimes spend money on people that you would be surprised that they would spend money on. And it's nothing, I'm not sitting here and being like, oh, this is somebody that they spent money on and it was a bad decision, because I don't necessarily think that's the right way to look at it. Now, for me, I think it's more, hey, let's just try to improve a situation for that we're in. But either way, I think this is how I want to do it. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but update right here. This looks way better.